3 days in a row of tornadoes in the same state, plus a crazy wall of hail and mud. And why does this tornado burst outward at the bottom? As we head into May, tornado numbers are rising fast. The 2024 tornado season has exploded to life. There have been nearly 600 tornadoes already, and May is typically the most active month. The date is May 2nd. I depart from Dodge City, Kansas, heading for northwest Texas. The day begins on the wrong storm near Guthrie, Texas. The storm was struggling as I sampled the hail core. This doesn't feel like the right storm. Upon scanning radar, I noticed something unexpected and potentially explosive is about to take place to my south. A storm moving north and a storm moving south were about to collide near Anson. But what really caught my eye was this line. This is a lifting boundary, dragging the storm with it. Tornadoes love to feed on these boundaries, so I need to get there now. The only problem is, I am 70 miles away. I head south. It's not even a debate of where I need to be. The only question is, will I make it in time? Unfortunately, I was not in time for the storm's first tornado west of Anson. But there's no time to dwell on that. It's time to punch through this core and get in position if it goes again. Punching through the storm's core, taking only golf ball size hail, the storm's large base comes into view. It's low and rotating rapidly. A tornado appears imminent. I found some roads to get closer, just as tornado genesis gets underway. When we talk about rotation before a tornado, this is what we mean. When you see this, you know it's about to happen. A ground circulation is noted under a high base funnel. A new tornado is officially underway, but I had no idea it was going to evolve the way it did. At this point, I'm just happy I didn't completely screw up the day. It doesn't matter how many tornadoes you see. In storm chasing, you're only as good as your last chase. It's kind of a sick mentality, but that's just the way we're wired. I decided to reposition a little closer, because that's what I like to do. The road options were limited, but favorable. It's hard to explain if you don't understand it. As a chaser, this is the moment you live for. An unpaved road, open views, and nature's most unpredictable phenomenon forming right in front of you. The road is narrow, and rain flying in the window makes filming difficult, but the position is perfect. I stopped before a grove of trees, not wanting to have the view obstructed. Subvortices poke out from above the trees as the tornado churns less than a quarter mile away. I decided to back up a bit for a broader view of the tornado. The funnel was still high up and not fully condensed. Watch the left side of the screen. A piece of debris gets drawn into the tornado from quite a distance. It's easy to assume a tornado's wind field is only what we see under the funnel, but that is often not the case. The wind field can extend well beyond what we see with our eyes. Another example of the tornado's deceptively large wind field can be seen with this large subvortex that develops in the inflow jet and races into it. These random vortexes can catch anyone off guard, and sometimes explain why one house is untouched while the one next to it is obliterated. Here is a closer look at how fast and random they can appear. Don't be fooled, it's in a field with nothing to hit. These things can pack localized winds twice as strong as the parent tornado. I'm repositioning as baseball-sized hail begins falling. The tornado fully condenses and displays an intricate view of its helical vortex structure, or more simply put, vorticity noodles. Did I mention the road was narrow? I took the next road south that unfortunately teed off just as the tornado rapidly strengthens into a dramatic and strong drill bit sidewinder. Did you blink? If so, you probably missed yet another display of intricate tornado behavior. The outer walls of the vortex blow outwards, hurling debris. This is because the pressure drop is so strong the tornado itself can't contain it, leading to what's called vortex breakdown. It's some of these intricate tornado behaviors that we fully don't yet understand and are still trying to study. I'll play it again at full speed for you. Notice the condensation disappears after the vortex blows outward. The pressure has better equalized and the tornado enters a breakdown phase. Whether or not it re-strengthens depends on its surrounding environment. We don't fully understand these exact correlations. Some tornadoes will dissipate, others will reorganize. Here is a different view from my cell phone camera. The tornado re-intensifies. Instability is high, and the storm is still feeding on that boundary I pointed out in the beginning of the video. If you take away that boundary, the overall conditions were a fairly low wind shear, allowing for a slower moving storm to actually take advantage of the localized environment longer. This is what chasers call a mesoscale accident, when last-minute puzzle pieces come together and the day overperforms. This is also a very tall tornado, which is rare. A lot of chasers focus on filming the debris at the bottom, but I can't help but look up and marvel at the height of this thing. It towers into the sky. This is south of Anson, Texas. I'm live. Get pummeled by hail watching this ongoing tornado for about 10 minutes now. South of Anson, Texas. Actually, this is by Hawley. We're by Hawley, Texas. Hawley. Hawley, Texas. The tornado is fully established at this point and moving slowly. I should probably move to get closer, but at this point I'm satisfied with my view and don't want to miss anything repositioning. That sound you hear is baseball-sized blowing. Why are you going out in it? You're gonna ruin it, your car. I'm trying to film with my phone, but hailstones keep hitting it. Oh, man. The hail guards are doing their job now. Sorry about that, y'all. I went to grab my mouse and I accidentally closed Restream, so hopefully we're still live. I sat in this one spot for about 10 minutes watching the tornado finish its life cycle. It's not often you can do that. Time-lapse is a really neat way to watch how a tornado shape shifts. It's rare you have just a single laminar tube. There are all kinds of different vortex structures going on at the same time, and with this tornado being so photogenic, it made them easier to see. The tornado finally vanishes, after surprising us all with its strength and longevity. The Hawley tornado was rated EF3 with 165-mile-an-hour winds. It lasted approximately 27 minutes, traveling only 3.3 miles, giving it an average forward speed of just over 8 miles an hour. Thankfully, there were no fatalities, but 4 people were seriously injured after their homes were destroyed. The next day took me only 70 miles southwest. For a storm chaser, that's easy. The first storms fired early, by 1 p.m. and looked quite messy at first. It was a boom or bust type of setup. If a single storm could become dominant, it had big parameters to work with. When storms are clustered like this, oftentimes the southernmost one is the one to be on, so that's where I went. If it could take over the environment, something major could happen. Visually, this had the look of an organizing supercell with a large base and multiple inflow bands feeding into it. This is looking more and more like the one. The storm starts rapidly organizing and diving southeast, meaning it's a deviant mover. This increases its storm relative helicity, meaning it can rotate faster. Radar trends confirm this. I end up running into some colleagues about this time. Data was limited, so we stuck together. The windy, sparse roads in this part of Texas can be a challenge, so we had to get creative if we wanted to keep the storm in view. We exited the main highway for a narrow oil-field road to follow an area of strong rotation, and within moments a large tornado soon appears. The roads are also lined with mesquite trees. They're short, but just tall enough to block your view of the ground. Not good when you're trying to watch a tornado develop. Thankfully, as we near the oil field, the view opens up. If it looks like the tornado is getting harder to see, that's because the RFD core of the storm dumps hard as it wraps around the tornado, shielding it behind a curtain of rain. It was time to move, but the only other roads around were private and we couldn't get through. We had to go back the way we came and get on the main 208 highway. This is actually a pretty solid plan except for one detail. We're now in the storm's hail core. I like hail, but the core can slow you down when repositioning. Timing is everything in storm chasing. The storm is now charging southeast and taking aim on the small community of Robert Lee, Texas. I get ahead of the core just north of town as the next tornado is set to begin. The storm is now an HP monster, with a conveyor belt of strong inflow feeding into an area of rotation partially obstructed by that rain-filled RFD on the left.
Reno in a way. Yeah.
Seminole style. It's not good as Chelsea's lives in Robert Lee.
I think it's about the plant.
Yep. As the storm approaches Robert Lee, new challenges arise. A large tornado has just developed and is moving southeast. Chelsea has family who lives just west of town and are in danger, but at least they're taking shelter underground. Given the storm motion and the squirrely road options, there really isn't an ideal scenario here. If you go east, you get cored and are out of position. If you go west, you get cored and potentially drive into a tornado. If you go south, you're heading into the tornado's path. The storm is HP, the tornado is rain-wrapped, so you won't see it from the south, but it's the best option if you execute with enough time. Since you can't go east, you have to decide to get ahead of the tornado and not see it, or wait north in the notch and let it pass to your south. This will keep you out of the tornado as long as it doesn't occlude back at you, but is a guaranteed pummeling by large hail. I decided it wasn't worth the beating for a tornado you likely couldn't see and raced out of its path. The Hook region is completely filled with rain. This strong tornado would be impossible to see unless you were practically in it. Highway 2662 is the best option to stay ahead of the tornado while not getting munched by it. At this point, I'm more concerned about family west of town since that's where it passed. I need to stay close, but not become a victim myself. I'm probably going to get to this next east highway that's south of Bronte. Let the bowling ball pass and then go back to where Chelsea's is. A couple of right over their area, so I'm going to be in Checkout Road here. I head south on Highway 277. There's not much out here, and with the potential for huge hail, the only shelter I can find is the awning at the tiny post office in Tennyson, Texas. I need to wait the storm out and go back to Robert Lee if needed. Folks are already there sheltering from the hail. With more chasing tomorrow, I'm trying not to completely destroy the windshield. I managed to squeeze the vehicle under the awning in a spot that probably wasn't meant to be a parking space.
Help!
The hail never got big, so I felt like a wuss. But on the positive side, I got word Chelsea's family was okay, and they didn't need any help. The tornado misses them to the south by only a mile, but check out the crazy path it takes. The tornado loops back and would have made a direct impact if it had not dissipated in time. A very close call. Good thing I didn't stay north. What was it I said a few moments ago? This will keep you out of the tornado as long as it doesn't occlude back at you. So remember that for all your future tornado positioning adventures. I am now way behind the storm after waiting, so it's an agonizing grind through the core to attempt to get back ahead of it. South of Yall, Texas, I'm about to get a dose of cruel town name irony as I encounter a wall of hail and mud like I've never experienced before. A stopped vehicle should have been my first clue not to proceed. I don't know if it's determination, foolishness, or the curiosity of extremes, but I kept going. At least I can count on new car features to let me know there's low visibility outside. Probably not gonna make it through at these speeds either. This is what the entire side of the truck looks like. I've driven through lots of hail and lots of dust and mud, but never combined like this. After another close call with a vehicle and realizing there's no way I'm getting through this in time to stay in position, I decide the pursuit is no longer worth it. Take refuge under another awning. I don't like entering a person's private drive, but it's too dangerous to stay on the road. If you're watching this video and this happens to be your house, sorry, and thank you. I had to give up the chase. I cannot believe the whiteout, blackout dust I just drove through. And then I almost I almost hit so many people driving through this is insanity. This thing east of San Angelo. I waited for the flying mud to calm down before emerging to try and pursue the storm again. There was still plenty of baseball-sized hail falling. There are no good roads in this area, and it's at least 45 minutes to take the long way to get ahead of the storm. So I finally, for real, called the chase this time. Storms unfortunately leave their mark on society. Flipping this trailer, causing a traffic backup on the highway, and distracting this driver at a gas station. It's important to be aware of the weather and give yourself some extra time. I need to remind myself of this as well sometimes. One thing you can always count on with storms is a dramatic sunset in their wake. Today ended up being more chaotic than I anticipated, but that's how storm chasing goes. At least it's about to have a delicious conclusion because there's another chase tomorrow. May the 4th be with you. I only have to drive 165 miles today, still easy in Storm Chaser world. Heading to Fort Stockton, Texas, one of the most tornado-prone regions in the country few know about. This is because 55 miles west sits the Davis Mountains. Moisture coming up from the Gulf pulls against these mountains. Easterly surface flow converges on the mountains, causing lift. Add in some steering flow from above, and supercells frequently form and move into this area, resulting in semi-frequent tornado production. Chasers refer to this phenomenon as Old Faithful. I arrive in town, grab some Subway, and watch as Old Faithful makes its approach. Another good-looking, organizing supercell. It's only a matter of time now. Sitting on the east side of town, it's critical decision time yet again. There are very limited roads here, a theme in West Texas if you haven't noticed by now. There's two to choose from at this point, Highway 2023 and 285. They're 17 miles apart, and you have to guess which one the storm could follow. I wait for as long as I think I can, and chose east. A little more than halfway there, I knew I made the wrong call when this updraft tower went up. Because I knew this would happen. Just like yesterday, the southern updraft takes over, becomes dominant, and dives hard southeast, along the road I didn't choose, and it happened fast. So now I have to hurry up and get there. I stopped when a tornado was reported. I'm definitely not going to see it from here. I was able to quickly get back in front as the next one begins. The storm is also chucking out random softball-sized hail. You can hear them hitting the ground and the nearby power lines as the rotation ramps up quickly. You can also hear one hitting my rooftop hail guard. Soon after, a funnel begins to descend as the next tornado is born. I must have had a hungry look on my face because a local decided to offer me some of his lunch. But I think I'll pass on that and focus on the tornado. There's just something extra special about loud thunder while watching a tornado. Surprisingly, it's not as common as you'd think. This is like the full weather gauntlet. This tornado is in about as middle of nowhere as it gets. It's quiet, with only the sounds of the storm around. It's as calming as it is exciting. Let's just listen to nature as she sings her song and does her dance. And there goes the ambience. The tornado lasted about 6 minutes. Old Faithful departs back into the sky, but will return soon. I can promise you this. I was keeping ahead of the storm as it began to line out, basically becoming a guerrilla hailer. It was trying to chase myself and all the other chasers into Mexico at this point. I met up with some of them and we tried to deploy some audio deflection techniques.
Creating tornado frequencies.
It didn't work, and we had to drive back through the core or spend the night out there. After 3 days of big tornadoes, huge hail, and everything else, it was a long 6-hour overnight drive back to base. I love chasing, but I'm glad to be back. Not much time to catch up on sleep though, because in just 2 days, a high risk for more tornadoes looms to the north. Thanks for watching.